More former senators are now reacting to the 6-month suspension handed over to Senator Natasha Akpoti-Uduaghan, the senator representing Kogi Central at the National Assembly. Some are of the opinion that a legislative house cannot suspend a member, as a member is not an employee of the house. According to critics, a legislative house cannot suspend a member of the house, as doing so will deny his constituents representation as enshrined in the Constitution of the Federal Republic of Nigeria, 1999, as amended. More so, according to Femi Falana, SAN, in view of the definitive pronouncements of the High Court and the Court of Appeal on the illegality of the suspension of elected members of legislative houses in Nigeria, the suspension of Senator Natasha Akpoti-Uduaghan is a height of legislative recklessness. The legal suspension, he argues, should be lifted without any further delay. Since the Federal High Court had restrained the Senate Ethics Committee from hearing the complaint against the embattled senator pending the determination of the motion on notice, the Senate ought to have stayed action in accordance with the rule of law. Joining us now on this show as we look at the 6-month suspension of Senator Natasha Akpoti-Uduaghan is Senator Adeseye Ogunlewe, Nigeria's former Minister of Works and Housing and a former senator on the platform of the Alliance for Democracy, AD, in 1999 for the Lagos East constituency at the National Assembly. Good morning, Senator Ogunlewe, and thank you for joining us.
Thank you for having me. Good morning, everybody. Good morning. Well, good morning, viewers.
A cocktail of issues here. The Senate saying that it has the right under Section 60 of the Constitution to define its own rules and its own procedures. 2, the argument that this issue is not about sexual harassment, but that it is about gross misconduct. 3, the argument that the court had issued an ex parte injunction asking the Senate Committee on Ethics, Privileges and Petitions not to proceed with the sanctioning of Senator Uduaghan. And then the 4th part, the statement already put out there that there are established precedents, both from the High Court and the Federal and the Court of Appeal, showing that the Senate has no powers to either suspend a member or withhold salary payments to either a lawmaker or to the aides of a lawmaker. These are some of the principal things out there in the public, and I'm sure you are fully aware of them. But as someone who has been in that same Senate, what's your reaction?
Thank you very much for having me. Thank you, viewers. Yes. Well, it is not unusual for the Senate to make mistake. And we have a platform for senators in 1999 where we discussed this matter. And the structure of the Senate has provision to avoid this type level of mistake. We have the Committee on Judiciary and Legal Matters that will have been given the opportunity to review the report of the Ethics Committee so that they will not make this level of blunder. One could see clearly that they went on a frolic, and it was a self-serving report. They didn't believe that there have been senators before them, and what has been the reaction of the judiciary to this level of suspension. Natasha is the 6th senator to be suspended, from JKF Waku to Omar Gege
to Ningi
to Ali Ndume. And the court has frowned very vehemently to that kind of attitude. And they should have already known that what they are doing was just going on a heroic adventure, which could be prevented. And it is a pity. During our days in the Senate, we had elders, people who are old, who are mature, that this sort of issue should have been discussed in-house. Like the relocation of seats is normal, but it is not when a senator is entering the chamber that you now tell the senator your seat has been changed. it is totally administratively wrong. If you are changing a seat, which is okay, you will have conveyed this decision to the senator prior to the resumption of the plenary, so that I will have known that, look, as I'm going in, they've changed my seat, and the session attendant will now show me the new seat. But for you, it is unconventional for you to just enter the chamber like that, and somebody tells you, look, this is not your seat. Your seat has been changed. It is very unusual. It is a little bit of, somebody will be curious why this of this should happen at that level of responsibility. No, it is not right for them to take this decision. And Nigerians have seen that if Natasha goes to court, it is clear that you've gone outside your power and authority. You cannot strip the lady, this distinguished senator, for being a senator. It is not possible. It's not your responsibility. The senator was voted for under the Nigerian Constitution, and you are a minority. The majority in our constituency voted for her. How can you say they should not pay her salary? You are not the one determining her salary. It's the Revenue Mobilization and Allocation Commission that determines the salary of a senator. How does that not become your responsibility to say you will not be paid? Where constitutionally there is, under Section 111, a commission that is responsible for the provision of payment to senators. You said they should withdraw security. You are not the Inspector General of Police. That is the man responsible for deploying policemen to senators. So all these things they have done, honestly, they did it in a hurry. They should sit down and readdress it and make necessary adjustments. It cannot stand, definitely.
Thank you so much, sir, for this insight, especially from your experience. And I'm glad that for the last statement you made, where you said they were in a hurry.
Yes.
And so it would then pique the interest of a number of people that why the rush? If you want a due process to follow, why this happened in about 24 hours, despite the fact that there was a court order to actually suspend the proceedings, which maybe they said they were served, or the court had no jurisdiction to determine how the Senate operates. So I'd like you to speak to that. And also, this Order 10, can you give us clarity on it, which she raised after she was asked to move her seat? Some people have said, irrespective of the fact that she raised Order 10 on privileges, she ought to have gone to her new seat in order to have been able to raise an order. Is that true? Whereas she said that Order 10 gives her the privilege to be able to raise, even if she were sitting on the floor or anywhere, as long as Order 10 was raised, she ought to have been heard and then a decision made.
So honestly, that is neither here nor there. There must be order in the Senate. And she, out of inexperience, she exposed herself to that level of embarrassment. What normally she should have done was to run quickly to the seat and continue. But when you insist on talking from a seat not allocated to you, I think the Senate President has, authority to debar her from talking. But that Section 10 is so crucial that under any condition, if anybody raised that order, you must listen to the senator, but not when you are not properly seated. She should have just run to that place and talk. Nobody could have prevented her. But she shot herself on the foot by insisting on remaining at a position not allocated to her.
All right. And then the rush for the process is 24 hours, because you talked about that.
That is Nigerian factor. Now you have to rush to make sure that you achieve your aim. They know what to do. They know that they have to consult widely. There is a committee on judiciary and legal matters that should have looked at that and tell them this is not possible. This will be, rubbish by the judiciary, because there are precedents. How can you commit an offense? You know that it is against the law. You didn't elect the woman, and the way they were talking, it was total ignorance of the privilege of a senator to say she should not parade herself as a senator again.
No, it was not ignorance, it was bias. In fact, before that judgment was made, I had pointed out occasions where I saw bias in the ethics committee, and I was correct.
How can you say a senator should not parade herself?
So it was bias. So in fact, let me also even tell you this, sir. Do you know, in order to be able to perpetrate their sinister act, they moved the day forward. They moved the time 30 minutes forward. And I pointed out on air last week. I showed the bias, and I was correct.